Well, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. It is Elder Renee, honey. We are in the elders table this morning. I've got my green behind me. I've got my elephants. I got the ankh behind me. We're talking about life. We're talking about nature, liberty. I've got my stones up there. Hey, you know what? It is just a good day to be in the land of the living. So let's say it this way. This is the day that the Lord has made, baby. Let's rejoice and be glad that you are here today to get an opportunity to see this day as never, ever before. This is the Elders Table again. You're at Elder Renee, and thank you for giving me your time. Thank you for giving me your space to enter into conversation with you about what we do on Fridays. Honey, it's Freedom Friday. And before we even do anything, let's go ahead and give God a hand praise for being right here today. Lord, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I believe it's Psalms. He said, enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Because why? There's something about that Thanksgiving. It's something about that Thanksgiving. He says, because when you enter into the gates with thanksgiving, now you're into the courts. Ooh, what happens in the courts? Yeses happen in the courts. Promises are happening in the courts. Healing is happening in the courts, honey. He says, enter into my courts with praise. And while we are thankful, blessings are happening. Miracles are taking place. Restoration, renewal, rejuvenation. It all starts with a simple thank you. So this morning we just say thank you, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to be in your space this morning. Thank you for your presence, that you're always here, you're always available, always touching, always in our presence. So we thank you. We thank you this morning, oh God. What did I want to come on here to say today? Today is Freedom Friday. What are we free to do this morning? What are we free to do this morning? Oh, but before I start, on May 11th, don't forget May 11th, we will be having, it starts inside Wellness Center in collaboration with the Baha'i Center. We will be having a Love Thy Neighbor opioid initiative. What we're trying to do, our attempt is to inform, to educate, and to collaborate. And while we're doing that, we're also going to train, and then we're going to feed you. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And we've partnered with the Clinton Foundation, and the Clinton Foundation has afforded us the ability to do this and bring this to our communities so that we are well aware of the crisis that is going on within our communities, but not just our communities, within our congregations, not just congregations within our homes. And we want to love on one another because we recognize and realize that we can't be neighbors until we recognize each other in each other. And that's just simply love. That is how we begin to recognize each other as neighbors, as friends, as one, as sentient beings here to do simply one thing, and that's love each other back to a space, a place of harmony, a place of balance, and a place of a rhythmic life. That's what we want. We want rhythm. And so May 11th, it's going to be at the Baha'i Center. Do me a favor, go over to Eventbrite. It is listed on Eventbrite as Love Thy Neighbor. It is to end the opioid crisis, and we can only do this together. We are better together. All right, I figured I'd put that in there. Because I would love to see you there. All right, and while I was getting that together, let me see. One of the things you will receive, I should have had this open by now, is, hold that thought. Pardon me, excuse me. If you happen to attend, then you will be one of the recipients of our resource guide. Right? And so prayerfully, you will be a part of, this is a serious event that God has afforded us the ability to do. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me on this day. Again, if you plan to attend, there's going to be some treats that we're going to give away, and this is one of the treats. All right, here we go. So here we are at Freedom Friday. Thank you for allowing me the ability to plug that in. Here we are, Freedom Friday. Freedom Friday. What are you free to do? The Bible says, seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open. Ask and it shall be given unto you. So on Freedom Friday, be free enough to ask. Be free enough to seek it out. And be free enough to knock on the right door. You say, Renee, why'd you come up with that? I said, Lord, oftentimes we ask, but we don't know how to ask or what we're asking. And then when we don't know what to ask for or how to ask, we sometimes feel out of balance. We think that we're stuck. We think that you don't hear us. We think that God's not listening. We think that we're off the road, off the path. But that's so not true. Seeking, asking, knocking is all simply about a relationship. And when we do that in earnest, by taking off all of our old experiences and not masking or putting, I'll just say, not asking like we're matching when we ask our parents or our friends. But when we're asking with an earnest. We're asking with a yearning or a love. We're asking with a sincerity because we're really, really saying, Lord, I need your help. I've tried everything else and nothing else mattered. Nothing else worked. But you, I'm asking you. Why? Because you know all things. And because you know all things, you are omnipresent. You are omniscient. You are omnipotent. You're omniscient. So you are all of these things. And because you're all of these things, I know, if anybody know, you got to know. So be free enough to ask. And you may have asked before. And when you asked before, you may have been in a different space. And it may not have turned out the way you wanted it. Or it may not have looked the way, because maybe mind, body, and spirit wasn't present at the time that you asked. I'll just say this. Go back and ask again. Go back and ask again. And then when you seek it, seeking is different than looking. And I'm going to give you a prime example. So we went out to a festival and the kids had a scavenger hunt, right? So the kids had a scavenger hunt and they said there are going to be some seashells out there. Some seashells. And so they put 12 seashells out there. And it says, if you find them all, you'll get a prize. We said, oh, okay, great. Initially, when the kids started looking for it, of course, they got discouraged. You know why? Because they couldn't find them. First of all, they were children, and so they had only seen seashells maybe once or twice in life, maybe on the TV, maybe someone took them to the beach. But they got discouraged because the more they looked, the more they couldn't find. So then they said, hey, can you come and help us look for these seashells? And so I said, okay. Why? I know what a seashell looks like. I'm experiencing the seashell. And so I began to look with them. However, when I began to look, I didn't see the seashells either. But what I did was I stopped right in the middle of looking for these seashells. And I said, Lord, show me these seashells. Show them to me, if they're high, if they're low, if they're different colors, if they're under the grass, if they're in the leaves. I need your help. I need to involve you in my seeking so that what I'm looking for, I will find. And I'll tell you that as soon as we got God involved, what happened? Seashells. Seashells. Not one, not two, not three, but there were 12 seashells out there. And by the end of it, we found 6. I want you to know, when you get God involved in your seeking, when you stop and take inventory and say, Lord, I need your help while I'm seeking what I'm looking for. When I'm seeking you out. But while I'm seeking you, I'm not just looking. I'm just not looking on the surface. I need to go deep down within these places to look for you, to look for what I'm looking for, to look for my purpose, to look for my promise, to look for the gift, to look for the reward. Because remember, the kids wanted the reward. But they got frustrated while they were seeking because they just were looking. Can I tell you today on Freedom Friday, go and seek it out. Go and seek it out and get God involved in the seeking. Because as soon as you do it, what happens? It appears. And here we go for the last one. Knock. Make sure that your knock is not one of them little taps. Okay? No. Well, I went and knocked, but nobody answered. Well, how were you knocking? Did you knock to where you heard it? Did you knock to where they heard you? Or were you just tapping? And nobody came. Can I tell you, you're going to have to seriously knock. Because God is listening. And when you knock, I tell you the right knock. The knock of love, the knock with a joy, the knock with excitement. Because you know it's going to be a reward on the other side of that knock. I tell you, when you knock in earnest, you're like, hey, Lord, I know you hear me because I know there's a prize. There's my joy on the other side of that. My freedom's on the other side of that knock. My financial breakthrough is in that knock. My prayer, my healing is in that knock. So I'm knocking, Lord. I know you hear me. And he says, yeah, I heard you. Here I am. And the doors are open. The doors are open. So when we seek and we ask and now we're knocking and they hear us and it opens and miracles happen and joy comes and excitement and the absoluteness of God comes, then we know we have done what we needed to do in the seeking, in the asking, and in the knocking. And I'll just leave you with this short little message. And it's called The Difference. It says, I got up early one morning and rushed right into my day. And I had so much to accomplish that I didn't even have time to pray. The problems just tumbled about me and heavier came each task. So I asked the Lord, why doesn't God help me? I wondered. And he answered, because you didn't ask. I wanted to see joy and beauty, but the day toiled on gray and bleak. And I wondered why God didn't show me. He said, because you didn't seek. I tried to come into God's presence. I used all my keys in the lock. God gently and lovingly tried it. But child, you did not. And I woke up early this morning, though. And I paused before entering the day. And I had so much to accomplish that I had to take time to pray. All right, Lord. Those are some of my tools I'm going to use. I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to take all my keys. I'm going to knock. I'm going to ask. I'm going to seek earnestly for you to show up in every which way we need. All right, now, this is Freedom Friday. Don't forget, on Freedom Friday, be free enough to ask again. Seek him out and not just look. And make sure that you're knocking hard enough to hear. It's Freedom Friday. This is Elder Renee. Don't forget to go to the Eventbrite if you plan to come to the Love Thy Neighbor event at the Baha'i Center on May 11th at 11:30 a.m. I hope to see you all there. Peace and blessings.